Today we'll be ranking the best and worst hamstring and glute exercises using this tier list. S-ranked moves are top-tier exercises, offering the best results, while D-ranked movements fall at the bottom, providing the least benefit. We'll be ranking each one of these on 3 key factors: muscle activation, the quality of the stretch, and the overall feel of the movement. Let's kick things off with the first exercise on our list, the barbell squat. This move is fantastic for developing strong quads and glutes. However, it's not the best for targeting the hamstrings. While it does engage the hamstrings to some extent, the focus is primarily on the quads, which means it doesn't fully activate the hamstrings like some other exercises do. That's why I'm placing the barbell squat in the C tier. Next up, we have the Bulgarian split squat. I know many of you dread this exercise, and you might be cursing me for saying this, but it's actually one of the best moves for targeting the glutes and hamstrings. Here's a pro tip to make it more comfortable and effective. Try performing it on the Smith machine. You can adjust your stance to target different muscles. Placing your front foot farther away from the bench will engage your glutes more, while bringing it closer will shift the focus to your quads. For an added challenge, step onto an elevated surface or plate with your front foot. This increases the range of motion, adding more tension to the muscles and promoting better hypertrophy without needing to go super heavy. The Bulgarian split squat is landing in the S tier. Let's dive into the world of deadlifts. There are 5 main variations of this powerful exercise, each with its unique focus. Number 1 is standard deadlift. This classic move involves lifting the weight from the floor with an emphasis on the concentric phase, without much focus on the eccentric part. This variation is really good for overall strength development, but when it comes to glute and hamstring activation, it falls short compared to other exercises. I'm placing it in the C section. Number 2 is stiff leg deadlift. Similar to the standard deadlift, but with the bar positioned slightly further from the shins and closer to the top of the foot. This variation puts more emphasis on the hamstrings and lower back by reducing the knee bend. It is landing in the B section. Number 3, Romanian deadlift. Unlike the standard version, the Romanian deadlift begins with a focus on the eccentric or the lowering phase. You keep the barbell close to your shins throughout the movement, maximizing the stretch in your hamstrings and glutes. This makes it a level up from the previous variation, and that is why I'm placing it in the A tier. Number 4, stiff Romanian deadlift. This is a variation of the Romanian deadlift where the bar is kept away from the shins and closer to the top of the foot, similar to the stiff leg deadlift. This adjustment increases the stretch in the hamstrings while minimizing knee involvement. Normally, this exercise deserves to be in the S tier compared to the previous variations. However, I'll be biased here and put it in the A category, simply because in my opinion, it is a risky movement when it comes to the lower back. Last on our list of deadlifts is number 5, the sumo deadlift. This involves a wider stance with your toes pointed slightly outward, resembling a sumo wrestler stance. The hands grip the bar inside the legs rather than the outside. This variation shifts the focus to the inner thighs, glutes, and quads, while also reducing strain on the lower back. It is especially effective for lifters with limited hip mobility or who want to target different muscle groups. When it comes to glute and hamstring activation, this variation is the worst, and it is going straight to the D tier. Alright, let's wrap up the deadlifts and shift our focus to the seated hamstring curls. While this exercise doesn't officially activate the glutes, it's one of the best moves you can do for targeting the hamstrings. Just make sure to set up the machine correctly to maximize your results and get the most out of each rep. I'm placing this exercise in the GOAT section S rank. The brother of the seated hamstring curl is the laying variation. I will keep it short for this one and put it in the S tier. I recommend every one of you add both of these exercises to your leg day workouts. The muscle activation and stretch you get from this exercise is fantastic. Next on the list, we have the hyperextension. This exercise primarily targets the lower back muscles, which are responsible for extending the spine. The glutes also get a good workout, especially if you squeeze them at the top of the movement, while the hamstrings assist with the hip extension throughout. However, since the glutes and hamstrings aren't the primary focus of this exercise, I'm placing it in the B tier. On the other hand, the reverse hyperextension primarily targets the glutes, especially at the top of the movement. The hamstrings are also engaged, assisting with hip extension throughout the exercise. While the lower back muscles are involved, they are typically less stressed compared to traditional hyperextensions. This makes the reverse hyperextension an excellent choice for those looking to build glute strength while minimizing strain on the spine. And that is the reason it is a level up from the previous variation, which places it in the A tier of our list. Alright, let's move on to the Nordic hamstring curl. Don't let the fact that it's a bodyweight exercise fool you. It's actually quite challenging when done with proper form. The key is to focus on controlling your movement and maintaining slow, deliberate momentum. While it might not be the most beginner-friendly exercise, it's incredibly effective for building hamstring strength. which is why I'm placing it in the A section. The glute ham raise shares similarities with the Nordic hamstring curl, but studies suggest it offers slightly better activation for the glutes and hamstrings. It places a strong emphasis on the eccentric lowering phase, making it excellent for building hamstring strength and reducing the risk of injury. It is landing in the S tier next to the other goats. Ready for another top-ranked move? Let me introduce you to the barbell glute bridge. Although this exercise is often associated with women, don't let that discourage you. It's incredibly effective for everyone, regardless of gender. Hypertrophy doesn't discriminate between men and women. Everyone can benefit from building strong glutes. To take your results to the next level, consider performing the barbell glute bridge on a Smith machine. This equipment helps you maintain perfect form throughout the movement and allows for consistent, controlled reps, which can significantly enhance your gains. By keeping your upper body stable and focusing solely on driving your hips upward, you'll be able to maximize the activation of your glutes. Given its effectiveness and versatility, the barbell glute bridge unquestionably deserves a spot in the S tier. The barbell glute bridge and the hip thrust are similar exercises, but they have some differences in terms of execution and muscle activation. The hip thrust offers a greater range of motion since your shoulders are elevated on a bench, leading to more intense glute activation compared to the glute bridge. On the other hand, the barbell glute bridge is performed on the floor, which limits the range of motion but still effectively targets the glutes and hamstrings. The difference in body position influences the depth and effectiveness of the glute contraction. Both exercises are fantastic when it comes to muscle activation, and this is why the hip thrust is also going in the S tier. Glute kickbacks are a solid exercise, especially since the cables provide constant tension throughout the entire movement. However, achieving perfect form can be challenging for many people, and if you don't maintain proper technique, the exercise can become ineffective. That's why I'm placing it in the B section. It has great potential, but only if executed correctly. A better alternative to this exercise is the butt blaster. This machine makes performing the movement easier and can provide excellent results. The only downside is that not all gyms have this equipment. However, if you do have access to it, I highly recommend giving it a try. It's definitely worthy of an A tier ranking. One glute exercise that is performed by a lot of women is the donkey kick. This move is not necessarily the best option when it comes to glute and hamstring development. The donkey kick primarily isolates the glutes, but it doesn't engage the hamstrings as effectively. Additionally, its range of motion and muscle activation can be limited compared to other exercises. In my book, this exercise is far from great, and it is going in the never to be seen again category D. The next exercise is the step-ups. You don't see people often doing this move in the gym, but if you do, please go and give them a gentle slap. The movement primarily targets the quads and can sometimes limit the engagement of the glutes and hamstrings due to the nature of the step and height adjustments. For me, this is a D-ranked move. If you want to achieve a Greek god physique naturally, make sure you watch our video series where we rank the best and worst exercises for muscle building.